What are you gonna do?
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
He's got a headache.
No, I don't.
How about now?
Yeah, it's coming on.
Everybody knows about garlic and steaks through the heart.
Yes, we all have our cross to bear.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd with your host Mark. This week I'll be talking about a movie from 1995 called The Addiction.
From the director of King of New York and Bad Lieutenant, the shocking new film from Abel Ferrara, Lily Taylor, Christopher Walken, Annabella Sciorra.
You want to know what's going to happen? Just wait and see.
The Addiction. Coming this fall.
Okay, The Addiction was made in 1995, directed by Abel Ferrara, who's made some noteworthy films, particularly Driller Killer is his more infamous one, but also King of New York, I think The Bad Lieutenant, or Lieutenant, depending if you're American or not, and a few others. This one's an interesting one. It's made in black and white. It stars, but only for a brief time, Christopher Walken. Its main star is Lily Taylor, and some critics have considered it really, really highly. However, when I watched it, I had a slightly different opinion to that. It's a fairly short film. It's 80 minutes, and I have to say, the first 45 or so, I sat and watched it, and though there were some lovely shots, monochrome shots, such as blood running across skin, things like that, look really rich and nice. A lot of the time it looked rather fuzzy. Now, this could have been the recording I was watching. It was recorded from the Horror Channel some time ago, and it may be the DVD is not. It may be that it's not great quality, and it may have been the DVD. However, I have seen in other Ferrara films, such as King of New York, he sometimes uses a slightly soft focus, and it gives his film a fuzzy look. And when it was fuzzy, it just looked rather like it was amateurish to me. And also, the lighting was a bit weird. It was a bit underlit in places. It's like he didn't quite understand monochrome as much. Now, you can do shadow monochrome and it can look brilliant. And they've been doing that since the 30s. I mean, if you consider something like Cat People from 1940-something, 1942 or something, its use of shadow is great, but in this it was just underlit and everything looked dark. However, when it was sharp, it looked really fantastic. There's a vampire attack right at the beginning where the main lady in it is attacked by a female vampire, and a close-up of her is really sharp and striking. So I had some problems with the beginning of the film. Also, the first 45 minutes or so, there's lots of discussing of philosophy, the nature of evil. The lady who's the centre of the film is a philosophy student doing a doctorate, and she's talking about, the nature of good and evil and willpower and understanding evil, and it's the sort of thing you get at particularly boring parties when you're at college. It's that kind of discussion of philosophy. Leave that at college. In a film, not so great. It didn't really work for me. And in fact, I was getting quite bored by about 40 odd minutes. But then Christopher Walken appeared. He was selected, I think, by the lady as a potential victim. It turns out he's an ancient vampire who's learnt all sorts of things, like resisting his addiction, and tries to show the nature of that. And once he's on, it's great. He's still talking the philosophy and stuff, but it's Christopher Walken. If he was reading out Twilight, it'd sound great. It's Christopher Walken. What can you do? It's kind of. I mean, maybe I've been a bit rough on it. It's kind of discussing the nature of addiction as well, which is more interesting, I think, than trying to discuss the nature of evil. And I don't mind discussing the nature of evil, if they can actually come up with something concrete, but it's a very roundabout, open-ended, non-specific, unresolved discussion, talking. Anyway, once Christopher Walken's in it, and then he's gone, the film gets much better. It gets more about the nature of addiction, the anger, the self-bargaining, and then submitting to the addiction. There's a huge scene at the end where a gang of vampires basically slaughter a lot of people they've invited to the lady's party. She has a party for getting her doctorate, and she invites lots of people, and it's kind of weird because she's been attacking people all the through and you never see them again, and then at this party you start seeing them and you think, I don't understand what's going on. Didn't she bite these people? Well, it turns out they've all become vampires, so they all join in, and it's kind of good it is filmed in monochrome because the amount of blood flying around, covering people, on the carpets, on the clothes, everything, on their faces, is kind of grim. And it being in black and white sort of doesn't. It still is very striking to see visually, but it isn't just that's just gore. It's something more to it than that. And then in the end, it's got takes a turn and it's about redemption, and it's got a very Catholic kind of feel. So in all, this was kind of an interesting film, but the first 45 minutes I found kind of a grind. Now, I'm the sort of person that tries to look for something good in every film I watch. There's very few films that I've actually actively hated. So when I watch a film, I look for the good in it. But it was a grind getting through those first 40 odd minutes. However, some of the shots I found really, really nice, and that was keeping me engaged. I think also the fact I was aware the film was only 80 minutes, I thought, well, I can just work, 80 minutes. If it had been 2 hours, I may well have shut off before that 45 minutes were up, which would have been a shame because I would have missed some good stuff. So I would say try and catch this. I think it's in the horror channel reasonably frequently. I could be wrong. It's certainly worth a rental if you can get hold of it. I couldn't actually. It doesn't seem to be rented in the UK through Love Film, and it doesn't seem to be on Netflix here either. But if you can get hold of it, or if you can catch it in the horror channel, I'd say give it a go. It's kind of interesting. It's definitely worth seeing for Christopher Walken. But be aware the first 40 minutes or so are a bit of an uphill trek. Okay then, I think that's it for this time. Bye. You can visit us at our website www.thegoodthebadandtheodd.com, or you can leave us feedback on info@thegoodthebadandtheodd.com. Any feedback you leave will be greatly appreciated, and we should be sure to mention you. We'd also very much like any iTunes reviews.